Just testing my microphone.
Right, well, we'll welcome everybody to the Great British Rhythm and Blues Festival Advisory Committee. And have we got any apologies?
We've got apologies from Councillor Mary Thomas, Councillor Howard Thomas, Councillor Anthony Chamberlain, Councillor Dorothy Lord, and Nina and Simon from Colne Blues Society.
Thank you. Are there any declarations of interest? Great. Were you here last time to look at the minutes?
Proposed to be a true record, Chair.
And is there a seconder? Seconded. Thank you. Item number 5 is venue update.
So we've got 3 main stages this year. So we've got Pendle Hippodrome, Little Theatre and the Exchange Project. All venues have returned their contracts signed. So we're now all ready to announce the lineups for those venues now that everything's been confirmed. We have been in discussion with the Muni because with the Blues Society not using the Muni this year due to a number of different reasons, the Muni are looking at doing something themselves. However, they've advised us and reassured us that it's not going to compete with the festival, it's only going to complement the festival alongside it. But we're still waiting to find out what those plans are, and we'll support them when joining the festival over the weekend with promotion and other bits.
Any comments about that information?
So will that be separate ticketing? The Muni, it won't be like the Blues ticket one.
So whatever they're doing, whether they're having bands on or whether they're doing a record fair or whatever, it won't be included in the wristband ticket price, which
It will be included in
the wristbands that they get for the other 3 venues.
Council. It will be included.
It won't be included.
Oh, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, no, so it won't be included.
So that
but we'll
perhaps needs spelling out a bit.
Yeah, so once we know exactly what they're doing, we'll then put it out on our socials, send it out on our mailing list, let all ticket holders know that it is completely separate. It's not under the festival umbrella, sort of thing.
Yes, yeah.
Does it work?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Just out of interest, for clarity for myself, the Fringe Festival and the Colne Great Rhythm and Blues Festival Committee, which we are, I know we're dealing with the 3 main stages, but is that the Fringe that's sorting that out? Because I know we have other locations which put bands on. Are they part of the Fringe?
So you've got the 3 main stages, which are your wristband entries, and then Colne Blues Society contacted all the pubs and bars and clubs in the town to ask them if they want to be a fringe venue, an official fringe venue for this year's festival, which quite a few have signed up, which obviously we'll get to further on in the agenda. But venues that didn't want to sign up to be an official fringe venue may put their own thing on. But the official fringe venues will be highlighted in the event programme, and they'll also have a sign in the window on the door showing that they're an official fringe venue for the festival. But there will be other venues that have bands on and stuff throughout the weekend.
Are you aware if they'll let the Fringe Festival or ourselves know if they are going to be putting anything on, so we know that's what's happening? We're not throwing a curveball when somebody says, "Oh, there's a band down there, you want to go see them instead of what we're supplying."
We do tend to find out before the festival,
yeah,
which venues are putting bands on, because obviously they do advertise it across social media. So we do tend to find out that way. They don't really approach us and say, "Oh, by the way, just to give you a heads up, we're doing such and such. We just tend to find out through word of mouth and across social media.
I think would it be worth going forward in the future, especially the public houses, if they are going to be doing something, if they let us know, at least that way, not policing it as such, but aware. Then if they're going to put a band on or they're going to put a disc DJ on, if we're aware of it, then we know what kind of foot flow, if you will, through the town area.
It is something that myself, Colne Blue Society and licensing have been looking at.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's getting the venues to actually do it. But yeah, I can have the conversation again with the Blue Society and licensing.
Yeah.
And see if we can.
I think it's a good thing going forward. I mean, maybe not this year, but if they want to volunteer, say this up with the Gots.
Yeah.
But on the actual weekend, say next year or whatever it is, just say if you are doing something, please let us know so we know where the footfall is going to be. So if we've got security or we've got first aid, we know that we might need to spread ourselves slightly further, if you like, to police the footfall rather than concentrate what we've got. If there's an incident in the middle of the town which haven't notified us, if you like, put something on, and then there's an incident or a mass of bodies, should we say, that needs help, policing, if you like, or security or first aid if need be.
Yeah. No, that's fine.
Yep. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Patricia.
Yeah, Chair, thank you. I know you mentioned the exchange, and over the last couple of the last year and in intermittent meetings, we've talked about the drink problem because it being a Methodist church. What's the update on that, please?
So obviously there will be no alcohol on the premises. So I've spoken with Ruth from St John's and Exchange, and Ruth and Andy have said have confirmed obviously there'll be no alcohol in the building, but they're happy for people to stand outside with obviously alcohol. Nina at Colne Blue Society was in discussions with a company in Rottenstall to do a temperance bar. I've not really had an update on where they've got to, but I'll definitely ask the question and chase it up.
Yes.
Talking about going into the future, the Munich, is that this is a one-off for this year, is it? Where they're going to be separate, or they're going to join in next year? Or is that to be decided?
It's to be decided based on a number of different factors.
Is there a reluctance there for some reason to be part of it? Because it fills a gap nicely. Last year, there's a big dead space between right here and where was it, down by the venue. And so people just congregated there because they weren't going to come back up there at this time.
The biggest factor that comes into it is the cost to hire the venue, because not only have you got the hire cost, which at the moment isn't feasible based on the current budget we've got for the festival, but alongside the cost to programme the Muni, with it being such a big venue, it just isn't feasible to hire the venue and put a lineup in there at the moment in time, just because of the budget we're working to. Because to programme the Muni and hire it, you're probably talking an extra £50,000 worth of ticket sales required just to cover the cost of that venue.
So the Muni is liable to be a complimentary thing from now on.
We're unsure at the moment. I think we'll know more after the Shares Festival.
I think it's only to have something in that middle, that sort of dead space.
Well,
It was all right during the day because you've got street entertainers and everything going up, but at night time there was just nothing.
You do have the little theatre across the road anyway as well, but if that's a venue, so you've got, because the little theatre is literally straight across from the
Unit downside.
the cenotaph.
Yeah.
So when you come out there, you're at the cenotaph, so you are at that location anyway.
Yeah, we just noticed that there was a big mass of people at the bottom and a mass of people at the top. There wasn't a lot going on. When the evening wore on, 8:30, 9 o'clock, it was solid down there.
because you've got the various,
Anton, would you go into your microphone? Yeah. Thank you.
sorry, I do apologise. Because you've got the amount of venues that are at the bottom, where you've got the venue and you've got the 2 or 3 across the roads or 4 across the roads. When they put a bar on, when they've got these music on outside, you're going to have a lot of congregation there. Unless you turn around and say, right, you're not allowed to have anybody outside singing.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm
No,
not saying.
yeah, but it's
During the day, there's much more back and
Yeah.
forth.
but then like I say, you've got Dowdy's, you've got the Green Garden or something, 64. So you've got quite a few in that small area. They've all got something going on. They've all got different groups on or wherever they've got on. You're going to have a lot of people there. Like I say, walking up, unless we put a bar outside the Muni, a pavement bar,
Like when the Muni was on, though, there was a coming and going
Yeah.
there.
because they're using it as a main stage. But like I say, you still got the little theatre. But then you could turn this say from the Muni up to here. There's not really anything there.
Yeah, thank you for that. So hopefully this year, with the Muni having something on, that will mean that there's more of a flow.
We are also looking at, depending on what the Muni does, putting something on to fill that gap, because we noticed there was that gap. Obviously, we're waiting to find out exactly what the Muni is doing before we decide what we're going to put to fill that gap.
It'd be handy if the Muni had a sort of wristband thing which allowed them to go in and out of the Muni, if no, in nowhere else.
It all depends on what they're doing. 'Cause if, say they're doing a record fair or something like that, then they probably won't have wristbands for it because they'll just get people in. Whereas if they're putting bands on, they probably will have a wristband scheme in place. But we can't decide on what we're going to fill the gap with until we know exactly what they're doing or whether we need to fill the gap. Because obviously, if they've got bands on, we've got a food vendor down there already. There's a busking tent up just slightly up. The gap would be filled. But if they're doing a record fair, then obviously we'll have to put something to fill the gap and bring the footfall from the bottom to the top throughout. So it's hard to say until we know exactly what they're doing.
Thank you. So item 6 is the marketing update. Nathan?
So at the last meeting, it was asked to find out the demographics of the social media marketing. I've asked the question. I chased it up again today. Our account manager at Scott Dawson's been off, unfortunately, but he's not done it yet. But he will get it to us as soon as possible. He's been off quite a few weeks, but he is back in. The marketing across social media, we're still dropping the artist cards frequently across social media to announce who's playing at what main stage and slowly announcing those. We've got numerous adverts going out in magazines, Blues Festival magazines that are going to pull the blues clientele, and we've arranged for banners and other bits to be designed, ready for a couple of months' time when we go a full push on marketing. Our new website's now live. So we've had a new website designed by the team at Scott Dawson, which is it's Shouts Festival. It's got a festival vibe to it, and it's a lot easier to use, and it also saves us money in fees as well, because we've changed provider that did all the processing for like the merchandise sales, and it's just a lot easier to book tickets and get in touch with the team, whether it's Colne Blues Society, whether it's myself in the office. So that's pretty much it for the marketing. It'll pick up more and more as we get close, because it's I'd say it's just over 4 months away, so it'll pick up shortly.
Whenever I see any of the posts, I keep sharing on all my Facebook pages.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 7 is a catering update.
So we had 5 catering pitches go out this year. Obviously they're spread out from the bottom of the town up to the top of the town, or the event area, should I say. So, and then we had an ice cream van pitch. All pitches have been taken, and all of them have returned the contracts and paid the deposits. So we've got the Thai food van at the bottom, like normal. I'm sure there'll be plenty of happy people. Next to them, we've got the grill burger unit. Outside the Muni, we've got Eyes on the Fries, which is a new trader for this year. They've done the smaller events and they're very, very popular. They're local as well, they're only Barnoldswick based. Outside the town hall, we've got Golden Catering, is a Kona. He's been doing it 30 odd years. He's normally outside the Muni, but he wanted to try a different pitch this year. And then we've got Some Delish, which are Morecambe based, I think. I might be wrong there. It's either Morecambe or Oldham. They'll be outside the Duke of Lancaster. And then we've got the ice cream van pitch, which has gone as well. Those pitches have brought in over £7,000 worth of income this year, which is an increase on the last 2 years, which is always a positive.
Yes, Jack. Last year, if I'm right, the ice cream pitch was literally outside the exchange, and we had the donuts on this side, and there was a bottleneck when the people were up. You had some people queuing at the donuts and some people at the ice cream, and of course our own bar. So there was quite a. Can you tell us, are we going to be moved? Is the ice cream still going to be outside the church?
I'm currently in discussions with the ice cream van provider because he's got a number of ice cream vans. So we are looking at whether he brings 1 van or 2 vans. I think he's going to be looking at bringing 2 and having 1 a little bit further down towards the Muni, and 1 just slightly up from the town hall. So there's quite a gap, and then
I think that would be better, Chair.
we don't know if the donut trailer is going to be attending, so we're going to struggle to say whether it's going to cause a bottleneck. But we have moved the ice cream van pitch slightly up the hill, and obviously we will have our bar outside.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Okay, so item 8 is artist updates.
So the main stage lineup for this year has now been confirmed. All contracts have been returned, and we're just waiting for Scott Dawson to do the final amendments on the lineup poster. Obviously, during that time, they are drip feeding acts, but there's quite a lot of good names on the lineup. So there's Ian Segal, Matt Schofield Trio, Kyla Brooks, Chantel McGregor, loads of others. It's quite a good lineup. Conley Society are quite proud of the lineup they've produced. But all contracts have come back for all the artists that have been programmed for the festival. So we're literally just waiting for the lineup poster to be finalised, and then we can get the full lineup out there.
Could I ask a question about buskers? How are buskers chosen?
So we have 5 busking tents throughout the event area, so they're spread throughout the event area to make sure that you haven't got a clash of buskers. We do try and encourage buskers to get in touch to book a pitch, because there's 2 time slots per busking tent, which off the top of my head it's 2 till 5, 5 till 8. So we do encourage buskers to get in touch and book your busking tent. However, we've noticed that they do tend to just turn up and they'll ask for the event organizer and say, right, where can I busk? But Nigel has been in contact, and we have sorted it out. But yeah, any buskers, try and get them to contact the office so we can book them in on a busking 10. But if they don't get round to it, they can just turn up and we'll find somewhere.
So you
for them.
don't have any audition?
No,
at
no,
all, it's just
no.
come as you please, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
as long as we know they're there, it's all right.
brilliant. And item 9 is tickets.
So tickets, we've sold 191 so far and 48 camping pictures. The tickets are a variety of full festival, Friday, Saturday and Sunday tickets. In comparison to last year, the tickets had just got on sale last year, I believe. They're on sale April time. So we're ahead of last year. We are expecting a big increase on ticket sales once the full lineup's out, and once we have a full push on the marketing with mail shots and sponsored social media posts, etc. But yeah, so far the ticket sales aren't doing too bad.
What's the maximum number of tickets that we can sell?
Off the top of my head, it's around about 850, 900. But that depends on the type of ticket we sell. 'Cause if we sell out of full festival tickets, we'll then have less day tickets available. Because obviously we have to stick to the venue capacities. Yeah, so it's around about 850, 900.
Thank you. Item 10, volunteer updates.
So we sent an email out on the 13th of March to our volunteering list that we had, advising them that we are on the hunt for volunteers for the festival. We've had 2 volunteers come back. One said unfortunately they're on holiday, and the other one was looking at a volunteering spot that had already been taken by our usual box office volunteers, which is Mary, Linda and Pat. So we have asked them if there's another volunteering task that they feel like they'd want to do. We do need to try and have a big push on volunteers. We're going to be putting something out on social media, getting volunteers to get in touch. The tasks vary from litter picking to handing out programs. The biggest one we need is merchandise stalls. So we'll have 3 merchandise stalls over the festival weekend, which we'll do 2 till 6, 6 till 10. And at the moment, we've got no one to man these stalls and run these stalls. So if anyone knows anyone that would be willing to man these stalls in return of a nice t-shirt, a wristband, some food, and then please get them to get in touch.
Councillor Bell?
Yeah, we've got these lovely little digital marketing advertising, if you like, up and down the street here. We've got one outside Hartley Square, one further down. Can we use them to put out, volunteers for it? And the other one is possibly looking at Nelson College, because you've got a large, above 16, should we say, groups that will go in there. So it might be worth approaching.
I have sent an email yesterday to the colleges. The problem we find with the colleges, because it's not in, because it's the summer holidays, they struggle to get the students to sign up to get involved. But we have emailed to see if there's anyone that's doing like the Duke of Edinburgh Award that needs to get the volunteering hours in, or anyone that's studying event management or music at college, to try and get them on board, because obviously it'll be a great experience for them. But we have sent an email out.
I was going to put just an addendum to that one, because it's the age that they are. If they could turn and say we volunteered within the environment we're asking for, that is something we go onto a CV and say for a large event they have volunteered and they've got some experience with meeting with people, so your communication skills. So things like that could be maybe highlighted especially for the colleges, that you will be meeting people, you'll be doing public service if you like. So it maybe just possibly twist that into it, just to let them be aware. Because otherwise, if you say we need a volunteer, the old military adage was, you know, we need 2 volunteers, take 1 step forward. Everyone takes 1 back
Yep.
because nobody volunteers. But if you can explain the positives that for it, that could be a good thing to do.
Patricia?
You can put me down as one of the volunteers for the Friday afternoon slot.
So Saturday, Sunday.
Saturday,
so
well, the Saturday afternoon slot.
the 2 till 6.
Yep.
Do you want to do outside the Muni sort of, or outside St John's?
Yeah.
Super, thank you.
Now, last time with the merchandise, I know that we were having a problem with the bank cards. Has that been solved?
It has, yeah. Yeah.
Will we be Waterside Action Group?
Yeah,
Doing
we'll be
usual
doing the litter
picking and
picking, yeah.
We sort that.
Brilliant, thank you.
Programs
Sorry,
and programs.
and programs, yeah.
Super, thank you.
11, oh, sorry,
Just to, as you were just saying there about the Waterside group getting involved with litter picking, can we not approach the Colne bid? Because obviously it's their street and their thing as well.
we can approach,
And
pick up
the
the
Treasure Island
Pendle, yeah, the bid,
Colne Citadel.
yeah.
Yeah,
any-
Treasure Island
any-
Tags, it's what it's all
yeah.
about, just getting it nice and clean.
Anybody that
It's-
can help, especially after 5 o'clock. That's when the litter really kicks in, and if you lose the battle then, you've lost the war.
Thank you. I just thought, when you mentioned the Waterside, I thought,
Yeah.
oh, the reason the groups, they were trying to get, more
Yeah.
involved and
Oh,
centralised
yes,
and
yeah. 11, item 11. Official fringe venue. I don't know whether you've got an update for that.
Yeah, so we've got 15 official fringe venues signed up for this year, which is more than we've ever had. Nina and Simon have been working very, very hard, and they're about 95% of the way through to announcing the fringe venue lineups, which we were nowhere near this position last year. So we're going in the right direction. And they think it'll be a couple of weeks before all the fringe venues have got their lineups. Which obviously the bands that are playing in the fringe venues will get promoted across social media, in the event program, across the pubs and bars social media as well. We've just gone past the deadline for venues to sign up, because obviously it'll get to a point where it's too late to program them. But we do know that there is a couple of venues that will be doing their own thing, which might not be blues related, but they'll be having live music on in venues. But obviously we do work closely with licensing to make sure it doesn't turn into a rave or anything like that. But yeah, 15 venues have signed up, which is incredible.
And do the pubs pay the blues festival, or do they give some funding to the council for advertising?
So how it works, they changed it slightly this year. So that previously the pubs would just pay a booking fee, which 10% to Colne Blues Society. They have changed it now so that if the venues want full marketing behind it across social media and the event program, then they pay £250, I think. Don't quote me on that. Round about that figure. And then they pay 10% of booking fees to Colne Blues Society as well. And obviously they pay for their own bands. We don't get any money from the pubs, but obviously we work closely with Colne Blues Society and save money by other ways.
Yeah, brilliant, thank you. Item 12, operational element of the festival.
So The road closure has gone in. We've had a site visit with the traffic management team to look at a couple of issues that we highlighted last year. The first issue we looked at was taxis at the bottom end of town, blocking the road closure and just being a nightmare. So we've worked closely with licensing, taxi licensing, and we're going to try and put in a private hire pickup and a Hackney taxi pickup at the bottom end of town to have a little bit more control. And we'll be taxi licensing and licensing are going to encourage the taxi companies to not send the drivers there unless they've got a job to pick up or if they're a Hackney taxi. We can't guarantee it's going to work, but obviously we need to look at doing something at the bottom end of town. But there's going to be clear signage as well at the bottom, just so they don't block the road closure, because obviously we need access for emergency vehicles at all time. Another issue we had was the top end of town. There was a cone in the middle of the road outside Alston's when it should have been a barrier. And then I think there was a little bit of confusion with the traffic management team on where the road closure actually came in on Craddock Road, which we've now addressed, and everyone's got a clear understanding exactly where that road closure is going to come in. And we've got additional signage like Keighley Roadway to make sure we don't get any wagons coming down Craddock Road and having to turn around past the market, because obviously they do struggle. And then we've also made note that there needs to be a barrier on Ivegate as well to stop people coming up that way. So we've addressed all those issues with traffic management. Should we let Tricia go on then?
Thank you, Chair. I'm thinking, I've taken into consideration the private hire and then the Hackney. The Hackney, literally on the barrier, because they were on the barrier, weren't they, at the bottom?
It was.
Yes. But I was thinking we could actually tell the private hire to use the car park for the railway.
That's what we've looked at.
Yeah.
We can't enforce it.
I know we can't enforce it, but we could
We're going to
encourage.
Yes, so we're going to encourage that private hire use the train station car park to pick up, and that Hackney taxis use Bridge Street pick up.
Yeah.
Because obviously we do need access for everyone else. It's not a taxi to drop off and pick up as well. But obviously, like I say, we can't enforce it, but we can encourage it and try and work with the taxi companies. Because if they don't work with us this year, we'll just make it a nightmare for them to get anywhere near next year.
Thank.
Are we going to be having the minibus from the campsite up to Cone?
We do, yes. So the minibus has been booked for Friday, Saturday and Sunday, which will run from the rugby club to the Hippodrome, down to the Crown and then back. It'll be running from 11 AM till 9 PM at night, I believe.
And
Same
does
as last
that
year.
generally work well?
It's worked really well past 2 years. Loads of positive feedback from campers and people from town that wanted to get from one end to the other. So yes, it has worked really well.
Brilliant. Thank you. Yes.
I mean, I'll take, we all understand the difference between Hackney carriage and the taxi, but it's the customers who we need to make sure that they understand. Because if we're going to use, say, right, if you're going to Hackney carriage, that they're going to the, try and use the car park, as long as it's well signed up. But the problem we're going to have is when they ring up, say, what's the number for a taxi firm? You don't know if they're a taxi you don't know if they're a Hackney or a pre-booked. So if they just turn up, they're just going to still turn up down the bottom and block it up again.
This is what we've been looking at with taxi licensing, to try and have them actually there on over the weekend, which they've said they're going to try and make sure there's someone from taxi licensing available. Because if obviously a private hire turns up and they haven't got a job, we're going to encourage them to go away further down Burnley Road, so we can get those in that do have a job, or so we can get them in and out to make it a little bit smoother.
The reason I'm asking that is because many times I've rang up for a Hackney and they said they're on the way, and it's actually I've rang up for private hire and a Hackney's turned up. So it's not plain sailing when you're ringing the taxi companies to say if it's pre-booked or through that private hire, they've got to make sure they only send private hire. If it's a Hackney, they send their red car. They've got to stipulate that, because otherwise it's just going to be a free for all. Even though we try and police it, you'll turn around and say, well, I'm here for such a body, and it's a Hackney carriage picking up a private hire.
We can encourage, but we can't enforce. So obviously, myself, licensing, taxi licensing, will be encouraging the taxi companies to work with us.
Yeah.
So we can make it as successful as possible at that bottom end of town.
The same as at the top, if they're going up Newmarket Street, that if they are going to do a drop off or pick up there, that there's adequate area for our turning around. Because I know I've seen it before now, where top of Newmarket Street just gets absolutely jam packed with vehicles, be it for the bands, be it for workers who are volunteering, and you just got nowhere from to come in or out.
Yeah.
We just got to be. So it's not just the bottom end; it's speaking to them, saying, right, if you're going to do drop offs, we're looking at, like you say, down by the Crown. If you're going to Newmarket Street, only go as far as certain area, but then police and make sure there's no personal vehicles or vans blocking up the top end so they can't get in and drop off. That's the only thing I'm just thinking of from that side.
Up to carry on with.
Yeah,
what else?
security, is it?
So the security has been booked using the same company we've used for the past number of years. We have got more stewards on this year for the road closure, because especially when with us having issues with taxis, we need extra bodies down at the bottom to get them in the right place without blocking that side. And then we've got more security roaming the event area. So that's all been booked.
I had noticed that outside St John's there was only one security person, and they did struggle a little bit as the time went on with the alcohol rule. So I don't know whether you could perhaps suggest that they had two there, or at least another volunteer and themselves.
I can have a chat with our contacts at the firm. There were 3 security officers on at St John's. There were one on the ramp door, checking wristbands and such. We had one inside the main hall, making sure everything's all right, and then we had one on the back entrance as well. I can have a chat and see if we can get an extra one, mainly for the evening, for the front.
Yeah.
I can ask that question.
Is it in the posters and the pamphlets of what's happening? Is it stipulated? I'm going to say it's stupid, but is it stipulated in there and on the poster that venue will be dry and no alcohol to be taken in?
It is, yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
So it should. That should.
Yeah, and I think because it was last year, I think people will be more aware this year.
Should be. Should.
Yeah. First aid.
All the first aid's booked. So we have the first aid HQ here, that's what we call it anyway. But they'll be roaming the event area, and they will have contact with security and event management for all the weekend via radios. But that's all been booked. Same company that's done it for the past number of years, so they know the event, they know how it all works. But that's all been booked.
Thank you. Waste management.
So
My favourite.
the waste management has been booked. It is quite a big increase in comparison to last year. Yes, price wise.
Oh.
No. So obviously we are working to a very tight budget, so we've had to go with this same arrangements that we had last year, because we can't actually afford what it is now. Never mind if we add in an extra couple of bins, because although it's only a couple, those couple will, if not thousands.
Nathan, can perhaps myself and Michael just go around and say where we've got particular needs, because I noticed last time there was, I think, 6 bins outside St Bart's. And I think that if we could just reassign them to certain areas, that might be helpful.
I can send you the list that we sent to Pendle
Yeah.
that says what size bin where. I can do that, not a problem.
And I know that we did run out of bags.
I've had a chat with Pendle and they're going to make sure we've got loads, plenty of bags. We have got some at the unit from doing Treasure Our Town anyway. But I've spoke to them and they said they'll make sure we've got enough.
And some of the bags that we can just take around the streets, they're fine. But the other ones that we actually put into the bins, they need to be slightly larger. And so if you can remind the Pendle Council on that. It's just little things, but unfortunately, if you've got a small bin bag, and you're trying to put it over a larger bin, you just can't. Yeah.
Is that bags for the wheelie bins?
No, for the litter bins, the ordinary street litter bins.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And was there anything else, Michael, about that? No.
I've not had an update from Pendle yet on whether they can put signs on the bins to encourage recycling or not. I'm still waiting to hear back from them.
We often do that as well. So we're quite happy to write down what should be in each bin. So that's not a problem.
We have arranged for it to be throughout the event programme to encourage people to use the bins and use them correctly. And we're also looking at putting signage throughout the town to show people, especially those that aren't from the area, what colour bins for what.
Yeah. And if also Pendle Council could make sure that the ordinary street bins are open, because some of them aren't, and then it's very difficult to change the bags.
I can put the request in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can put that request in, not a problem.
Thank you. Street entertainment.
So we've got a variety of street entertainment happening throughout the weekend. So we've got Musical Roof and Elton Wrong back, like we did last year. We've managed to get them at a better rate than last year, believe it or not. But obviously that's because, well, that's Elton Wrong on Musical Roof.
He's fantastic. Yeah.
We've got Stilt Walking Drummers this year. I think that's on the Saturday. We'll have the Mirror Men back on the Sunday. We've got face painting for the kids. We're looking at a saxophonist. We're looking at other bits of street entertainment, stuff that's different that will catch people's attention, just so it's not the same stuff every year.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for the contracts to come back, and then I can actually announce what's been
Brilliant.
booked.
Yeah. Yes.
It's slightly off kilts, but it's the same group, same area. I think it was last year I managed to get down to this junction before I turned around. I'm not good with crowds. I am not good with crowds at all. But one thing I did notice was there was a rather large number of people walking around with dogs. And when they walk around with dogs, and they're not little things that you're going to stand on, some of these are big things, and they let it walk out, and it was taking up a lot of the footpath space, walking space. And me personally, not just because of possible dog waste, but to having a lot of people with a lot of noise with dogs, I think isn't a really good mix. And I think we should really try and encourage people, even with signage saying, please don't take dogs into the main areas that we have, even the roads, due to the fact that if somebody gets bitten by a dog, it's going to cause an issue. And it could be anything simple.
Or if you are going to bring your dog, make sure that it's muzzled and
Sorry.
If you are going to bring your dog, make sure it's muzzled, but also keep it close to your side, because Councillor Bell, there was a couple of times when I was here last year, I saw dogs 2-3 feet in front on a lead, 2-3 feet in front, but people like myself who's on sticks trying to get past, and the dog just runs across you. And if you've already started to, you're going over. So it could be a request that on a short leash, and if need be, muzzled.
Yeah, like I say, when you look at some of the crowds we do get, where it's very close, and if somebody's taking a dog in there, it could cause an issue with somebody falling over it, dog getting hurt, so person getting hurt. So
Can we have a dog-free zone, or would that just encourage people to bring their dogs into different areas?
I'd say not to bring it in. Well, the road closure area, I'd say don't bring any dogs, because if you've got a mass of people, it's not a really conducive area to bring a pet in. No, it's not. I'm thinking more of the pet.
We have this sort of trouble. The same thing was going on with the Easter one on Saturday, with all the children and what have you, with great big dogs walking through. The dogs, it's half the height of the child. And the same with the Christmas fair.
Yeah.
It was
And the cycle race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there was that many more children around, you see, with the Easter and the.
I think the problem we would have is we can't actually enforce it, and that's where the problem's going to come in. Although we could say, please try and not bring your dog, or please do this, the likelihood of them listening is quite unlikely. But I will speak with Pendle and see if there's anything they can do, because obviously they have a lot more power than us. So we'll bring that back.
I was going to say the other side of it. Well, if it's going to be like something we've had like last year where it was absolute scorcher, the problem is you're actually causing injury to the dog walking on hot tarmac with bare padded floors, because it is actually quite dangerous for the animal. But I still do believe that if we've got an event on like that, we should, put even on the signs on the barriers and say, please do not bring your pets beyond this point. We can ask them, put it on there. If we do see them, just say, excuse me, we are trying to keep this area free from pets, because not just in the mess, but what happens if it's, like you say, they're walking out and those are on the extended leads. It's not a person stood there, talking between me and you now, and people are struggling to get around them. And if people are going up and down with sticks, or young children or prams, it's causing that issue. I say it's an issue for safety for the people and safety for the animals. That's what I'm looking at.
Thank you. We'll look into that. Toilets.
So I'll give you an update on toilets, and then I'll just give you a brief update of everything else, just so we can move on. So toilets have been booked. The company that provides the toilets is also going to provide the fencing, because they're going to erect it and dismantle it, which always takes pressure off the staffing team, and it will be cheaper than what it was last year. We've got toilets throughout the event area like normal on Queen Street car park, outside Little Theatre, on the back street for Newmarket Street here, and on our car park across the road. And previous years we've had issue with women's toilets here at the town hall, because downstairs we have the gents and we have the disabled toilet, which gets used for women's, but there's only one of them. So we end up with women queuing for the toilet, and if they're not waiting to queue, they're going in the men's. So obviously we can't give them access upstairs because it will ruin the carpets, and we need to there have to be a member of staff with them at all times. So what we're looking at this year is on our car park just across the road, put in a toilet trailer. So it'd be like a VIP toilet, nicer than a Portaloo, which will give us additional toilets for the women. There'll be one side will be men's, one side will be women's, which yeah. which obviously will get rid of the problem that we've had past couple of years here, and it'll encourage people to actually use the toilets because they're nicer than a Portaloo. But I'm just waiting for the final cost back on that, because obviously there will be a cost difference. But the rest of the festival as a whole, all the licenses have gone in, so the temporary events notices, all the sound and backline's been booked and in place. So we went out for quotes to make sure we're not paying over the odds. We've ordered merchandise, so we've ordered fridge magnets, bottle openers, pin badges, t-shirts. So they've all been ordered, which should be here shortly. The bar staff have been booked for our indoor bar and our outdoor bar. We've got our refrigerator trailer that's been booked to keep the beer nice and cold, especially if it's warm over the weekend. Obviously, the hop on, hop off bus has been booked. That's pretty much it. The fun fair's booked for Red Lion car park like normal, and we'll obviously work with the residents that live above the shops to make sure that they've got access like we did last year. And Barnfield Construction have signed up as the main sponsor for this year's event, which is great to have them back on board. But that's pretty much it.
Well, you're doing a fantastic job. Yeah, excellent.
Nothing new there.
Right, I don't know whether we've got an update from Combe Blues. Have they? Any?
They've not sent an update. Obviously, they have been working very hard on the main stage lineup, the fringe lineup, and buskers and a couple of other bits along the way. So they probably pop in every week to give us an update of where they're at, and that's how we know what's going on. But I would expect in the next couple of weeks for not only the main stage lineup to be out there in the world, but also the fringe lineup as well. And then they might be able to have a bit of a rest before it all starts again. July, August.
Have we got any items for a future agenda? Due to be confirmed for the next meeting.
I do know when it is, but I've forgotten. It's not due to be confirmed because meetings have been confirmed. I'll send everyone an email because I've forgotten what it is.
Well, thank you very much for attending.